So,
welcome back to episode 3 of Angel's podcast.
Do you know what? If I hadn't have wimped out because I wasn't sure what you were going to say after welcome, we would have almost done that in sync, because we both said welcome at the same time. So that's something. That's a start. So this episode, we're focusing on
British politics. Shannon really wanted to talk about it, so I'm giving her the get-go.
There's just so much to talk about in it, and we need to make sure that, the last 2 conversations were fun, but without really thinking about it, I think it was the first or the second, one of them already sort of became a US election special anyways, even though we didn't really theme it. And then the last one was fun, but everything was a bit all over the place and it could have been quite hard to follow.
It was incredibly random. So I messaged Shan being like, yo, can we do a topical thing? And then every month we'll basically round off everything that's happened. That way we'll have more content to talk about, and it'll just be fun to talk about random shit that no one ever talks about every week.
Exactly. And also then if you want to listen to us but you're not interested in politics but you are interested in sexual health, because no doubt that'll be another one that we did.
Defo.
Yeah, you know exactly which episode you want to tune in for.
Yeah, so being a lot more focused.
Exactly.
And we're always, obviously sorry I keep interrupting you, but I think one last thing before then you can get on with your Dominic Cummings is that obviously we just set up this podcast. We're always reinventing, changing, updating. I think I bet you 100% I'll change that logo in the next few months. So, expect the unexpected. We're always changing, always vibing up. So, stay tuned.
Yeah, it's evolving. And also we're streamlining. Seeing what works, having a feel for it, and sort of going from there. So, speaking of changes, I'm going to kick off with this one because I'm going to go back to Bojo in a second. But I'm going to start with JC, not Jesus Christ, Jeremy Corbyn. To some people, one and the same. He's got a Santa vibe about him. That's for sure.
Yeah, because he's got a fucking white beard.
Yeah, exactly. He always looked like Santa to me. I think he's got a red nose and the cheeks as well.
Alright, sis, if you want to equate Jeremy Corbyn to Santa Claus, your choice.
Not necessarily. Christian exclusive, yes. In the, him and the Labour Party under him have been found to be not only anti-Semitic, but there are also now investigations into Islamophobia within the party. So obviously, yeah, they're not doing too well. And as you probably know, not too long ago, Sir Keir Starmer, who's the current leader of the Labour Party, took over from Jeremy Corbyn, kicked Jezza out of the party when Jezza was like, oh, this independent report into anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, it's all really it's over exaggerated, it's all sort of out of hand, it's not that bad. And because he belittled the experiences of the Jewish community that were in the Labour Party, Sir Keir was like, nah mate, get out. So
he's back in though.
Yeah,
but he's not the leader anymore. No, he will not sit as a Labour Party MP in the Commons.
He will never be a Labour MP again, as far as Sir Keir Starmer is concerned. He's back in the party, but he can't represent Labour in Parliament, and that's the difference. Because the first one, they've let him back in the party because he said he mitigated his comments, so he's sort of he didn't apologise, but he tried to explain himself to make it sound less bad, and he was like, oh no,
I'm sorry, but
he was like, I wasn't saying that the Jewish experiences were exaggerated. I was saying that the report exaggerated. So he tried to say that he was which Jezza, it's a weak excuse, and we don't accept it. But it was good enough to get him back in the party, so he can say he's a party member. But anyone can be a party member.
Put that on my CV.
Exactly, So, but yeah. Sir Keir Starmer was asked today if he was going to give the whip back, because if he gave him the whip, then he could represent the Labour Party in Parliament.
What's the whip?
The whip is just the political backing of the party kind of thing. So the whip is for the people that represent that party in Parliament. So there's a Tory whip and Labour whip, etc. And the whip is not going to be given to Jeremy Corbyn because he can't be represented. Because not really. According to Sir Keir Starmer, Jeremy Corbyn stands stands for everything the Labour Party doesn't. And maybe, you know, at one point in this podcast, you won't cut off something that I'm saying, you know. We'll blame the internet. We'll blame a lag. There's probably a lag.
Sorry?
Yeah, okay. So
Sorry, I'm just Googling up Jeremy Corbyn. I was looking at a photo of him and now I can't get Santa Claus out of my head.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there's a bit of a lag in what we're talking over because we're actually having this conversation over a Zoom call so that we can see each other when we're talking. Just for people that are listening, if it sounds like sometimes, I don't know, there's a bit of like...
No one's talking.
Yeah, or there's like a lack of cohesion. We'll try to like cut out pauses in edit, but you know, talking over each other and stuff like that is kind of hard when you're working at two different internet speeds, I guess. So yeah, so what do you think about that? About him not being given the whip, but him being allowed back in the party? I mean, you got opinions on it?
Like, I think I'm really fortunate to not give a shit about politics. I think I'm in a decent situation. So I don't know much, but I am learning thanks to Shannon, who always keeps me updated on what's going on in the news, especially when it comes to politics. I think the comments that Jeremy Corbyn made weren't great, and to kick him out was obviously necessary. They can't just keep him on and then talk about inclusivity and diversity. That would be an absolute hypocritical thing to do. The fact that he's in is a bit like you're in, but with no benefits, it seems like.
Yeah, he can't represent Parliament, but he can be a part of it.
So what was the point of him getting back in?
So that he can be a member, basically. Like, he can get the leaflet, go to the conferences, that kind of thing. It's
He can be involved.
Yeah, he can get involved, but he will never be like, or from what Sir Keir Starmer said so far, he will never be out there like Jeremy Corbyn of the Labour Party in Parliament. You know, he won't be sitting with them.
Well, there was a lot of wasn't just Jeremy Corbyn, right? There was like more than one. Like, it was a thing of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, was it not?
I think definitely, yeah. The anti-Semitism in the Labour Party is sort of like deep rooted, and it goes beyond Jeremy Corbyn, and it was before him as well.
Yeah.
But the point of the reason it came to a head while he was there is because he did some things and had some friends that were outwardly anti-Semitic, and that's when it was under his leadership that the report was sort of conducted, and people started to speak out a bit more, and people were listened to when they spoke out. So that's why it sort of came to him, and he was like, oh, it's not a thing. And that's sort of like the biggest issue, because you can't be like, oh, it's not a thing. Sorry. All right, Jezza. I guess I'll take your word for it, you know.
Were there any other MPs that were kicked out, or was it just Jezza?
Do you know what? I don't know that. I've not, to be honest with you, I'm not really that fussed about what I call party politics. I think there probably are Labour MPs kicked out for anti-Semitism, but when there's like a list of names that I don't initially recognise, I've got to tell you, it's hard for me to keep it in my head. You know, like I can remember what Jeremy Corbyn's doing. I can tell you about, you know, Boris Johnson, Dom Cummings, and Lee Kane, but you know, give me an obscure name from the depths of the back bench of the Labour Party, and I have no bloody idea who they are. I don't know what they do.
That's the point, mate.
Who knows?
I just realised we're both wearing grey turtlenecks.
Wow, not that everybody can see that. This is supposed to be like a grey-green, but yeah.
It's grey in my end. I love that coordination.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not finding a list out here right now. So, I mean, I if you're interested, you could probably Google, just see if your local MP is an anti-Semite. There's probably a list of them somewhere, same as there are for the MPs that voted against feeding hungry kids in the UK, you know. These sort of lists exist, but I just can't find it this quickly, and I would have, but I didn't think to. Yeah, so that's what's going on in the Labour Party right now.
There was Rebecca Long-Bailey. She was sacked. Sir Keir sacked his shadow education secretary, Rebecca Long-Bailey, in June 2020, saying that she had shared an article containing anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Well done.
What way to end a career? A career in shadow education. And she's sharing conspiracy theories. Bro.
Sorry, I was reading the article.
Too carried away.
There were also high-profile suspensions. Sorry. We keep speaking at the same time. There were high-profile suspensions within the party, so like a slap on the wrist, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, a suspension I wouldn't really say is good enough for things that are essentially... And it's anti-Semitism. Suspension doesn't do anything. You know? It's like... To me, suspension is purely performative. It's like, everyone will kick off if we don't do anything, but also we don't care enough about this to get rid of you.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens with white-collar criminals. They just get sacked. But they still have the money, they still have the benefits to move on. Same like the guy who was all a part of the Wolf of Wall Street. Not a lot of the people got paid back, and now he's famous because he wrote a book and he got interviewed and is friends with Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, not friends, but they did talk about the thing, obviously. So, like...
Yeah, it's a very different experience depending on who you are when it comes to things like justice. But sort of knows that all too well. So, yeah, that's sort of like the biggest thing from the Labour Party.
Should we move on to the opposite spectrum?
We can do, yeah. Although, just before we bridge that entirely, there's something else that the Labour Party's doing. Oh, actually, before that, I've just had like 3 things come into my head at once. Firstly, right, you know this whole like keeping the whip away from Jeremy Corbyn thing? One of the people backing that and speaking out on it is Rachel Riley.
Rachel. Why do I know that name?
Down lady?
Oh, her! Yeah!
Her. I was so shocked. Huh?
What's she saying?
She's saying that like anti-Semitism isn't okay, and why like Jeremy shouldn't even be in the party. He shouldn't be having the whip. Like, get him out. Like, what's going on?
Rachel Riley also led the petition to get rid of Katie Hopkins on Twitter, so she is in that spectrum of being political and getting involved. So not really surprised that she said something.
Oh, okay. I'm not surprised that she hates Katie Hopkins. That's the thing. I don't really think you can be like educated, because obviously she's like hella smart. Like, she's an Oxford grad, isn't she? I don't think you can be educated and in the public sphere and not say anything about these sorts of things. Like, if Rachel Riley speaks up, more people will listen. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, and my other sort of strain of the what's going on in Labour is that they've put forward like a sort of a law thingy. It's not a law, but a bill to get social media platforms to do more to combat fake news around the vaccines.
Of course.
Yeah, so obviously, like, there's a lot of misinformation being spread, particularly on things like Facebook. And as we know, these social media sites are ridiculously bad, and it seems almost entirely incapable of rectifying misinformation and preventing it being further spread. They don't seem to really do anything about it, and obviously when it comes to a thing like this, where it's sort of like, it's not even, it's national health, but it's sort of beyond that, because it's literally like a matter of life and death that people do get this vaccine when it's out, and like allowing that misinformation and just outright fake news to be spread could cost people's lives in the long run. Because I think they said like only 75% of people in the UK would take the vaccine, and that's like a quarter of the population just being like, nah, you're right.
Yeah, but have you noticed on Twitter there's now that thing of remember when Trump said, I won this election by a lot? At the bottom there was, our sources haven't confirmed this, the election. Have you seen that? There is a thing going, like, Twitter are putting underneath their banners on whether it's like fake news or whether it's truth or not.
Yeah, like the election results came to a different conclusion or whatever, or please check.
Yeah, even with Bake Off as well.
Yeah, it's like, and they've got it on Instagram. I mean, not the like fact checking bit, but like if you went to share something about the election, it was like, election information might have changed. Read up on this. Are you sure you want to share this post?
Yeah, and do you remember? Sorry.
So it started, but there's nothing like that. I mean, they've put like a COVID-19 information tag on posts on Instagram where you mention coronavirus, but there's nothing like that on the vaccines. When it's chatting about the vaccines, there's no sort of like thing for vaccine fact checking.
Yeah, I mean, I think, remember when that whole Waitrose conspiracy theory happened? No, Waitrose, Wayfair.
No.
How do you not know this?
Enlighten me.
Basically, yeah, it was all over the summer where there was this conspiracy theory going on is that Waitrose were involved in human trafficking.
Waitrose or Wayfair?
Wayfair. If I say Waitrose, I mean Wayfair. And basically, they had, for example, how a lot of companies, they name their furniture after people.
Mm.
So, for example, if there was the Annam cabinet, there would be two listings of the same thing. One would be like thousands of pounds, and the other one would be like the standard 100. And it's like, why do these both cabinets both look the exact same, but have different prices, and they're both named after women or after girls? Right, so the theory is that if you bought that 1,000 grand Annam cabinet, you get like a person.
Okay.
So, and and to buy those cabinets, you had to be a special member, and there was a whole different department for those special members. So it's like a little side job.
Right. Okay. Was there any like base for this? Did anybody actually research it, or?
I mean, obviously there were people around. I know a girl on TikTok found a lot of information on it. A lot of ex-employees were talking about it, but I don't think I doubt there was an official investigation. Obviously, Wayfair were like, mate, what's wrong with you? But anyway, during all of this, when people were putting it on social media, there was a whole thing come up being like, this is probably fake news. That nothing's been confirmed yet, and it's like, and obviously that drove the conspiracy theories more, saying like, why are you saying this is fake news, but you don't post any of the other stuff as fake news? So it was like a big thing, a big conspiracy.
Which social media was doing that? Was it Facebook that had that?
It was Instagram.
Instagram. Okay. I suppose maybe they would have jumped into that one, aside from the whole conspiracy theory reason, is because that fake news directly impacted a business that might have had accounts and stuff on Instagram, and that was probably like reporting to Instagram, like, do something about this, like, it's harming our sales. And we all know that money talks. So wow, I didn't know about that conspiracy theory.
I know, but we were joking, saying that, our rug is from Wayfair, we have to get rid of it now.
Oh, I completely missed all of that.
Wow. Where have you been?
I'm not really... I mean, listening to LBC, obviously, I've not been keeping up with culture. That's sort of your area.
That is true, but it was on Twitter trending.
It doesn't matter if it's trending. I wouldn't pay attention to
That's why we have you as the business politics person and me as the culture conspiracy person.
You are the conspiracy theorist, definitely.
And the sexual health expert.
Now that we've gone down that rabbit hole.
So anyway, so yeah, I think social media needs to do a better job at combating fake news.
I'm glad that we came around the houses for that one. Yeah. No, actually, that's a really interesting... I'm going to be thinking about that Wayfair thing now. I'm going to have to like go on the website and check and see if it's still a thing. That's insane, though. It doesn't make any sense. But it's probably just like an admin error on the website or something.
No. They said that these specific cabinets are high quality ones. That's why it's so expensive. But it wasn't just that. It was also cushions as well. Like, why are you selling a cushion for like £1,000?
I mean, could be like hand woven or like silk threaded or something.
Oh, I think it was on Reddit.
Have they you? I mean, they're paying for the people. Oh, not probably the expression to use. Yeah, so aside from conspiracy theories and social media and vaccinations and... Oh, actually, just before I jump across to Boris Johnson, on the topic of vaccinations, we've got Dolly Parton and the 95%
amazing
American vaccination.
Amazing. Everyone loves her. Everyone is now like... Apparently she also produced Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is amazing.
Wow.
But yeah, it's so great that she's using her power, using her money to actually do something, because obviously, I think I spoke about this last week, is that there are so many celebrities, so much money, and they're not doing anything. Same like Jeff Bezos, that idiot only donated like what, 100,000 for the Australian prize, whereas another influencer definitely gave way more. I'm not going to say how much, I can't remember how much, but way more than Jeff Bezos did. And it's like, with his money, he can do a lot of good, but he doesn't because he's a twat. And I love how Dolly is setting an example of, sorry, I lost my head. Setting an example of using your money for good and not just, spending. I mean, she probably does spend, but at least she's doing good things with her money as well.
It's an example of how to be an actual idol. Like, that is somebody you want to idolize. You don't want to idolize somebody for having, a 3-inch round waist or being able to sing a really high note. You want to idolize somebody for putting their hand in their own pocket and donating to something that's potentially going to save millions of lives.
I know, and she's getting the recognition she deserves for her music as well. Like 9 to 5, everyone's like listening to that, everyone's hyping up again.
I'm glad, despite the fact that nobody's going to work.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely amazing. And I think a lot of celebrities might jump on it just to get that recognition.
Maybe.
But as long as they're doing it, I think, yeah, they do get recognition, but as long as they're putting their money where their mouth is, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care why a celebrity does something good as long as the good is getting done.
I mean, that influencer I mentioned, she was selling nudes for money for the Australian fires, and she donated way more money than Jeff Bezos. So do what you want, girl.
Yeah. It's the ends justify the means in that case. Not that selling nudes is a bad thing to do. If it's perfectly legal and you're happy with doing it, fucking go for it.
What you want.
Yeah. All right, so I'm jumping on to Tories then. So as we are all very much aware, isolation has taken Boris Johnson yet again. It's not been that long since the last time, but
I think. Do you think he might be shit scared? Because people were like he faced death. That's what people on Gogglebox were saying.
I've not seen this Friday's yet. Don't ruin it for me. I'm behind.
No, this was ages ago.
Oh, okay, fair. Oh, well, you're quoting an old thing when they said he faced death.
I think that's what are their names?
Oh, I don't know. That's not an important point.
I'm just saying that. I was asking, do you think he's a bit more like cautious now because he did have COVID before, and obviously he has to isolate now, so he might get it again.
Well, the whole point is that if he's isolating now, he's not. If he's isolating, he's less likely to catch it if he doesn't already have it. And I'm pretty sure they'd have tested him to know that they test him pretty regularly. So if he had it, I'm pretty sure they'd have picked that up. I personally don't think he's had it. As in he's got it again, and I think he had it the first time. I don't think he's got it now.
I think you said something completely different.
Yeah, you think he didn't have it?
No, I thought that's what you said. I was like, oh, controversy.
No, I think he did have it. I don't think Trump had it, but I think Boris had it.
You don't think Trump had it?
No, man should be dead.
Interesting. Why do you think that? So I saw a text, and that's why I paused, but why do you think that he didn't have corona?
Well, because he recovered too quickly. He's unhealthy as frick. He's in like 10 of the high risk categories, and he got well in quotation marks far too quickly, and he's still got no respect for the virus. And if he really had it, it would have knocked him for 6.
That's what I was thinking. I'm practically immune to it.
Yeah, nah, you never had it, mate. Like, or if he did, he had like an extremely weak strain, or he had it like, I mean, obviously a lot of people around him went down with it, so it's like he could have got it, but it doesn't make sense. And also, I kind of feel like he saw that Boris had it, like, for real, and Boris got sympathy, and the nation pulled together behind him, and I feel like it's the sort of thing that Trump would do. Would go, oh, well, it worked really well for Bojo, let's see how my public react to me getting it,
Well, you fucked up because you got discharged too early, mate. Do your research. Wait, he didn't do research because he had no respect for it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my little controversy. My little controversial.
Well, that's a conspiracy, sis. That's a conspiracy.
It fully is. And I'm glad we've left the sound on your laptop for this podcast. Yeah, so
Sorry?
nothing. I just keep hearing a little. I think it.
Oh, yeah, that's my phone. I just muted it now. Sorry.
Thanks. Just if anybody does hear it and you can't edit it out, and then they'll understand what it is.
We are normal working women, all right? We have people around us.
Bro. Boris is in isolation, and who else is in isolation? You might want to know. Breaking news as of this morning, I do believe, is Miss Dido Harding. Do you know who that is?
Who?
No? Okay. Dido Harding is the creator of the Track and Trace app. She owns it.
Shut up.
It's hers, yeah. And she sent out a tweet.
Oh, when your own weapon is used against you?
Well, yeah, she sent out a tweet this morning saying there's nothing like testing your own product. Because she got a notification from Track and Trace to isolate, so that's what she's doing. So it's her and it's Boris and, obviously a couple other people. Yeah, so it sparked a whole... I mean, Dido wasn't at that meeting, that's not how she got it. But there's what was I saying? There was a bit of controversy about whether Boris Johnson should have had the sort of like MP meetup that he had in person, where he and a couple others...
well, they shouldn't have. They're in fucking lockdown.
Well, that's it. It's like it should have been remote, but then it wasn't, and people are like, well, should it have been, or should it not have been? Either way, that's what's happened, and it's remote now, because the Prime Minister can't go otherwise. But yeah, so Bojo sat in isolation, and aside from that, he's pretty lonely, because not too long ago, a couple of days, maybe about a week now. I mean, time sort of merged into one. But he lost his best mates in number 10. He's lost Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane, who were two of his
incredibly... You're so funny when it comes to politics. I love your humour when it comes to it.
Yeah, he's lost some quite important political
So what
aides.
exactly happened? So why is he gone? What happened? Was it to do with COVID, like agreements and stuff? Disagreements.
So by he, I think are you referring to Dominic Cummings specifically?
Yeah. Why did Cummings leave?
Well, okay. So all that is really known is that there was a heated argument at number 10 between Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings that led to Dominic Cummings leaving Downing Street, being removed.
He apparently trashed his girlfriend, Boris's girlfriend. Apparently he said something rude about her.
He does that anyway. Like, he's been doing that for a while. I don't think that's what the heated argument was about.
And I'm just saying that it was mentioned. People were saying, like, oh, he only kicked him out because of that. And I'm like, I doubt it.
Well, no, that's something that he used to do quite often. That's just shows you how awful Dominic Cummings is, in my opinion. But, I mean, I have a bit of a theory about why Dominic Cummings left.
What's your conspiracy theory? You're taking my mantle, yeah?
Yeah, I am a little bit. It's political conspiracy theory though, so I think it's allowed. So basically, I think the argument was because I think that Dominic Cummings is the one that leaked about lockdown early to like the Guardian and the BBC and everything.
Ew.
Because obviously it came out early and it came out from like super high security, very small group of people that were meeting for these. And obviously Dom Cummings would have been in on it. And I think he leaked it to the press as he does because he's got like this weird flair with politics, and that would have been something that he would have planned to do. You know, it wouldn't have been an accident. He'd have been like, this will work better.
But why did
he gone and done it?
Why would he do it?
Well, I think he did it to sort of like give an edge or make it happen sooner or make it come out in a particular way, or maybe he did it to get fired. Because, and this theory, you'll have to stay with me here. So, when he walked out of Downing Street, he had one of those stereotypical boxes. You know, like the boxes that they can sometimes deliver like paper stacks in? You know, those little boxes, cardboard box with a little lid.
All right. You know? I love your research into this.
A man that went...
I see the photo.
Yeah, like, and he wears a rucksack, right? And there is no reason that he would have a box like that, let alone be able to fit everything that he has at number 10 Downing Street in that box. That was, to me, that was performative. So I think he deliberately got that box because everybody knows that box means you're moving, like you cleared your desk. That's the I've cleared my desk out box. We see it in the movies all the time. I think Dom Cummings did that as a publicity stunt to say, yeah, we had an argument. Yeah, I'm leaving. Lol. So yeah, but and what sort of like gives this more credit? So I think he leaked it so that he'd have an argument with Bojo, and then he'd stage this whole make it like overly dramatic of him being kicked out, fired, so that he could then come back suspicion free to a better role. Because we all know Boris Johnson can't cope without Dominic Cummings. Dominic Cummings is responsible for the entirety of Boris Johnson's premiership. Basically, every decision is because of Dominic Cummings. Dominic Cummings decided it, and Boris Johnson said, yeah. Dominic Cummings said jump, Boris Johnson said how high. That's how this whole thing has gone. And we all know that Bojo, can't cope without Dom. So he's obviously going to go and beg Dom to come back after, the tensions over the argument have settled down. And he's going to go, please, Dom, please, I'll give you a better role. Because obviously there's been a bit of a reshuffle in number 10 and people aren't happy with it. As we know, that's why Lee Kane left, because Lee Kane wanted to be chief of staff and Bojo said no. And that's why he got his backup. So I think this is all about what jobs people are having.
When he first came on.
Pardon?
The Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, he quit or he got fired when Boris first came on because he disagreed with Trump's ideology, and obviously Boris didn't like that, so he got rid of him. I think that's another conspiracy theory in itself.
Yeah, so that's not really in number 10. That's like in the cabinet and everything. But specifically,
I know, but in general, yeah.
Yes. But back to number 10 in particular, I think that it's this want of a better role. It's why this whole like, I think it's just a drama. Why this dramatized thing happened. And I think that theory is kind of given weight by the fact that I just saw a Daily Express headline about Dominic Cummings returning to number 10 with a different role. Now, all I'm going to say is, I got some questions. Like, I mean, I probably need to sit down and read this article, but I've not had a chance yet. So yeah, to me, it was a. I think Dom Cummings leaked the lockdown thing, had a bust up with Boris, did a very overdramatic leaving of Downing Street just for Bojo to say, please, please, please come back. Here, I'll give you this pot of gold. I think that's essentially what's happened. Obviously, I have no research for this. Make of it what you will. I think I just like theorising.
But do you think Dominic Cummings is smart enough to have elaborated such a smart plan?
Yes. It is literally his job. He's literally political strategist. He's the one that came back. He's the one. He orchestrated Brexit. He came up with take back control. That's his thing.
Cool. So if he does come back with a better job, we will be the first to say it. But just a disclaimer: all these opinions are our own. These are our opinions. OPINIONS. Did I spell that right? I am a visual learner, yeah?
I'm speller, apparently, yeah.
OPINIONS. If you don't like our opinions, let us know because we could use the engagement. But do not take anything that we say into account. And if you do, you're an idiot. This is Shannon's conspiracy theory. Let her have her moment. And yeah. But if Dominic Cummings comes back in the Downing Street with a better job, probably opinions turning into facts soon. But right now, opinions.
Yeah, and we have sort of prefaced everything we've said that might be controversial with, this is a conspiracy theory. So, it's sort of in the title. It's a conspiracy theory. There's no basis in reality. This, the Wayfair thing, I'm pretty sure I said something else that was a conspiracy theory, but they've all been, sort of like, oh, what is that blooming word? Caveated with the word conspiracy. So don't take it too seriously. But also it's a bit of fun, and it might be a bit relevant.
Yes, that's how Shane Dawson made his entire career. So.
Yeah, but I think that's all I'm going to offload about politics. I feel like this is a hefty chat.
Yeah, I just think we had a nice chat about politics, and I went down the rabbit hole a lot.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Is there anything else in politics that we want to talk about, or anything big?
Not that I can think about. Not that I can think about right now. I think that's
Oh,
pretty
something
much
will come up tomorrow, man. Just wait. We'll see a new thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've always missed something, but we can just talk about it some other time, or pop it on straight onto our socials. Which, by the way, we've got an Instagram, we've got a Twitter, and obviously we're here on YouTube.
And it's on the YouTube. It's on our channel. If you want to see, if you want to follow us.
Yeah, Angels News Network on Instagram and on YouTube.
Angels News Network.
And Twitter?
On Twitter, I think it's slightly different. I couldn't change it. It just automatically gave me that. It's just loading.
Oh, we love that.
It is Angels News Net W1. I don't know why it's that. That's what Twitter gave me. So Angels News Net W1.
Anyway, so we'll see you on our socials in the meantime. This will be up in the next couple of days. It was recorded on the 18th of November, which is more for Annam's benefit when she pops it onto YouTube.
At 6:42 p.m.
Everything that we said that wasn't a conspiracy theory was accurate at the time of recording.
We believe so.
We believe so. Right, so that's all from us, Angels Podcast for Angels News Network. I've been Shannon.
I've been Anna.
And we will see you next week. We'll announce the topic for next week's on our Instagram story at some point before it airs. So keep a lookout for that.
Yeah, podcast will come up probably after Friday because I'm busy.
A lot of things to do. It is Thursday now, so that's not too bad.
No, it's not. It's Wednesday.
No, wait, it's Wednesday. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Oh, all the days merge. Anyway, so thank you again for listening. We will see you next week, or you'll hear us next week. It's more accurate. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.